Hey guys, how you doing? I got the community A4E Skyhawk here today, recently released module. It is absolutely free. Check it out. It is a stunning module. Okay, I will put the download link in the description below. So today I thought we could go over some basic stuff I figured out so far, only because there aren't too many guides and tutorials and things like that as of right now, so you're kind of stuck figuring it out on your own. So I'm gonna do a couple series with the A4E and just talk about things I figured out. Today we're going to do Sidewinder usage, and I'm going to get up in the sky and we're going to take on a Vietnamese MiG-21. Just a basic, just to show you how to shoot the Sidewinders, and he's just going to be a stupid AI, so I'm not going to do like a TAC view for it or anything like that. It's not really worth doing something like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started, guys. Okay. So the first thing we're going to want to do here is, well, this is what I like to do. Come over here and I like to hit the lights on first. So that's this knob right here. I'm just going to pull it. It's going to turn the console lights on. Then I'm going to turn on the floodlights. You can see it's a bright red. If I left click, it's a more controlled red, a little bit less. Alright, and if I hit it once again, I'll just show you. There you go. You can see a real bright red. Right, so that's how that works. And this knob right here, this is the white floodlights. So if you increase this, you know, you get a nice little white tone. If you decrease it, I'm just going to leave it off for now. Now let's see, what else do we want to talk about? Over here we got the radar controls. This is the radar standby off. We're going to put it in the search position, and what that's going to do is it's going to turn it on. You'll be able to see it here. See, it's actually doing something now. And what it's going to do is scan the terrain in front of us, from my understanding. And if you really want it to work well, you got to kind of angle it down a little bit. So this was the radar search, and this one is going to be the angle. You're just going to angle it down just slightly. It's not really going to work here because you know, there's nothing in front of us, so there's not much for it to scan. It's just scanning the ground in front of us right now. Anyway, we're not going to need the radar for today's mission, so I'm just going to turn it off. I'm just going to leave it on standby. The next thing we want to talk about, because we're going to be engaging a MiG-21, we want the countermeasure set up. So the way I figured out that the countermeasure works, you got two banks. You have bank 1 and 2, and I believe number 2 is the flare. So if you put it in the 2 position, it'll pop flares, and if you put it in the 1 position, it'll pop chaff. And you also want to come down here, sorry about that, and you see this power button here. You want to flick that on. Okay, so now that you got it on, because we're fighting MiG-21 with IR missiles, I'm just going to put it into the flare position right off the bat. Okay, and you know, the both is obviously it's going to drop both. I haven't tried this one yet, but I know that 1 and 2 work independent of each other. So that's the countermeasures program. You just have to turn it on, hit it in the power position, and choose what kind of countermeasure that you want. The next thing you can do here is change your reticle. Right, you can pull your reticle up and down. I'm not going to do too much of that. I don't want to play with that right now. Here we got the airspeed indicator, fuel quantity, you know, all of the normal instruments you can see here. Here's the flaps indicator right here. I believe they said something about the half flaps not working, or maybe they work, I don't really know. When I take off, I just put it in the down position. It seems to work decently for me. I'm not saying that's the right procedure, just saying that's what works for me to get her off the ground. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is how to get the missiles, the plane to actually shoot the missiles. So this is the weapon selection screen. You have to see I hit my joystick to go away so I could actually see it better. It is hidden by the stick, so consider hiding your stick. You have to bind that to something, and it's usually bound to backspace in all the other planes. So the Sidewinders in the A4 can be mounted on pylons 2 and 4, and that's where I have them mounted today. So what we're going to do is throw these to on. Now it's not going to work because we have weight on the wheels, but I'm just going to show you how it works. Just because we're on the ground, it'll be easier for me to explain it here. So you put the pylons, you select the pylons 2 and 4, that's where the sidewinders are. If you wanted the missile to come off just the left side, you would turn down the right side and vice versa, right? If you don't care which one it comes off, just throw them both on. The next thing you're going to do, if you want the missiles to fire and not the gun, you have to put the gun to the safe position, because if you don't put it to the safe position, they're bound to the same key, the same fire button, so when you click to fire the Sidewinder, you'll actually fire the guns. So you have to put the guns to safe. Okay, the other thing you need to do before you can do anything is you got to take this selector and you have to move it onto bombs and arm and all this other stuff, this last option here. It's not going to do anything right now when I put it there. You hear there's no tone. That's because we have weight on the wheel. When I do it in the sky, when we meet up with that MiG-21 for the dogfight, you're gonna see me pop this into this position here, and you're gonna hear the growl of the Sidewinder at this point here, and that's how you know that you're armed and ready to go. Okay, so I'm just gonna actually leave that in the lap position for now, because I want to show you when we get up there. And that basically takes care of the weapon systems here. So it's just, you just have to know that you basically have to pick what pylon you want to drop it from. This one here is the center pylon. You pick what pylon you want to drop it from, and then you have to select what kind of weapon you're using. Are you using rockets, arms, anti-radiation missiles? What are you using? You just select it with this knob here. And that pretty much sums up most of the stuff I figured out for now. I figured out how to drop bombs and stuff, but we'll talk about that in a different video. So let's go ahead and see if we can take off now. Flaps down. Throttle to full. And we're rolling. And I believe you're supposed to have spoilers on, but like I said, this is not a guide on how to take off. I'm not doing the correct procedure. I'm just trying to get off the ground here. And I'm not doing anything in terms of the stick. I literally turn the flaps on and I just went full throttle, and she'll lift herself off the ground for you right here. There you go, see? And then you just want to pull your gears up, close your flaps, and that's it, you're off the ground. You're flying the A4. Okay, so at this point, I'm right around the area where the MiG-21 should be waiting. Just the reason that I'm fighting the MiG-21, it's a Vietnamese MiG-21, and I just figure during the Vietnam War, these A4s, they were obviously like ground attack, but I'm sure they occasionally had to defend themselves against some sort of Vietnamese attack here. I think I can see him off in the distance there. I'm not sure if you guys can see him, just because YouTube compresses the video quality, so you may not be able to see him, but I got eyes on him. He's off in the distance there, so we're going to go ahead and head towards him. But yeah, these A4s, I'm sure they had to defend themselves at some point against Vietnamese MiGs, especially the MiG-21s. Which the Vietnamese used very well, if I'm being honest. They scored at one point during the war. I remember in a documentary I read they had a 1-to-1 kill ratio to American F4s, which, you can argue that comes down to training, and, then the Americans started the Top Gun program, and, all that stuff changed. But, it is what it is. There was a 1-to-1 kill ratio at one point, so it's quite impressive from the Vietnamese for sure. Got to give credit where credit's due. Yeah, so here we go. we got that MiG-21 just merged with them there. And so what I gotta do is turn on my Sidewinders here. So I'm just gonna put that knob that we talked about, I'm gonna put it into the bomb/arm position, and you can hear the growl of the Sidewinders now. There's that MiG he got behind us. So you can hear that growl, and essentially I just have to point the gun sight. I have to put the center of the gun sight close to the MiG, and then you should get the lock-on tone for the Sidewinders, and then you can fire them. Now these Sidewinders, they're kind of the older models, so they're not as maneuverable, so you don't want to be too close. You kind of want to have just a little bit of distance, enough that the missile can maneuver itself onto the target, because like I said, it's not very maneuverable, so if you're too close, it's difficult to get the kill. And if you're in a high G turn, don't even bother with the Sidewinders, because they won't be able to track a target in a high G turn. And you only have 2 of them, so be careful with how you use them here. Alright, so here we go, we're just turn fighting with this guy. I'm almost about to point my nose at him. And then I just gotta point my nose a little bit higher too, and then fire. Fox 2. Alright, so that's the kill. Now let's head back to a carrier. I want to show you guys a carrier landing as well, because it wouldn't be an A4 video without a carrier landing. So here we are at the carrier landing. This is my very first time attempting a carrier landing. I've landed it on the ground several times, but this is my first time on a carrier. So I would just be impressed if I didn't smash this into the back of the carrier here. But, you know, like I said, it's just not an A4 video if you don't try to at least land on the carrier. So let's see how this goes. Alright, so that was an okay landing. Like, I would take that. Just the fact that I didn't rip off the wings or hit the back of the ship is pretty impressive to me for my first time, so I'm going to take that. That's decent. Guys, I highly recommend checking out this Community A4. Huge respect to the team that made it. It is a stunning, stunning aircraft. It's always been one of my all-time faves, and I absolutely love this thing. The module is beautiful, and once again, it's free, so I don't see any reason not to pick it up. And like I said in the beginning of the video, all the guys who are new to DCS, you get 2 free planes, and if you pick this one up, you essentially get 3 free planes. And this one's a full fidelity, not a full fidelity, but like you can click some stuff in the cockpit, and it's pretty cool. It's a beautiful little plane. It's hella fun to fly. So I highly recommend it. Huge respect to the guys that made it. Like I said, it is beautiful. Huge appreciation for the work they put into this thing. It really shows. And that's going to be it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it entertaining. Maybe you learned a couple things about the A4. I'm going to discuss other things as well with the A4, like the bombs and the anti-radiation missiles and all that other stuff. So we'll get into that in other videos. But for now, that's going to be it. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.